Good morning to you all. Please bear with me, my voice is a little bit hoarse this morning. I think I'm coming down with a cough. But nonetheless, I hope I can be able to share with you the few messages that I came with. Yes. I'm very delighted that I've been afforded this opportunity to be with you this morning. I think having listened to what has been said so far, the program is perhaps a summation of most of the things that have been said this morning, as well as perhaps yesterday, in terms of trying to see how we can move forward with the actual implementation. Our program, both in terms of the process as well as the resource mobilization, does play a critical role in the countries to try and see how we can help a very specific category of countries, which is the LDCs. To try and put my discussion into context, if you will permit me, moderator, I could just give a brief outline of what we are about so that people understand where I'm coming from as I make very specific suggestions on how we can, working together, try to move forward the implementation of some of the tourism issues that you have raised in the last 2 days. We are a partnership of least developed countries, donors, as well as implementing agencies that was initially set up in 1997 as a response to LDC's cry to have trade-related issues addressed, which have arisen over the years that they have been committed in participating in the global interaction. I think by and large the issue was LDCs had been part and parcel of the global negotiations, made various commitments, but we have been unable to take advantage of the opportunities created due to the various supply side constraints that they have been facing. And this program was put in place to try and address that. And this program is supported by 22 donors, and we have two key main objectives. One is mainstreaming trade into national planning processes, of which services and tourism in particular is a major part. The second objective is enhancing the delivery of coordinated trade-related technical assistance. And here, I would like to point out that it's not that LDCs did not acknowledge that there's been support being provided, but the delivery of that support was done in a way that oftentimes there was an overlap or duplicity, and therefore there needed to be ways and means found to try and see how that could be improved. And we operate mainly at two levels. One is the global level, where we have a board that is the key governing body. We also have a global steering committee. But more importantly, which is where I'll focus my discussion for this morning, is our operations at the country level, where we have the National Steering Committee as the main policy guidance body in country, and it's a broad-based stakeholder group. Then we have the focal point who directs the implementation of the program in country, supported by a national implementation unit, a team of experts to try and move forward the process. We also have the donor facilitator who works in close collaboration with the donor community in country, but is as well the link between the donors and the government. So those are the key structures which I'll try to dwell on as I move forward with my presentation. I think it's clear for any project, program, or indeed investment plan to be successful, it is important that there's an inclusive involvement from conceptualization to the realization of the implementation. And that this is really where the EIF's real value comes in. How we are structured in country, and through those structures, how we try and facilitate a process that brings to the table all the necessary stakeholders in a way that they can discuss issues and be able to collectively agree on which areas are priorities, and out of those priorities that they collectively agree the course of action that would be taken, and that they collectively agree who they will approach in terms of trying to support the process. But a more fundamental element that we add to that process is that going beyond the country level, the program facilitates the participation of implementing partners that can support this process, taking into account that most of these countries may not necessarily have the available capacity at that present point, but that you're progressively working towards doing that. So how is it that our program can help in very specific ways? One is that as soon as a country becomes a beneficiary of this program, we undertake what we commonly refer to as a preparatory phase. That preparatory phase facilitates the constitution of the key mechanisms that I earlier alluded to, but it also facilitates the initiation of an assessment that will form the basis of the actions that are to follow later on. And as part of this process, the structures do, in my view, provide potential to include aspects relating to services and tourism in particular. We have an approach that is flexible, allows the countries to actually be able to determine, according to their own situation, what those priorities are. And therefore, if a particular country feels that tourism is indeed a priority, at that point, it becomes part of that assessment. Also, as I earlier alluded to, the participation is very much broad-based, and it allows the involvement of all partners. I did hear earlier on a reference being made to the fact that you needed to bring on board the full partnership. And this partnership doesn't stop at government officials. It extends to private sector, extends to civil society. And this is what this forum could also do. The final aspect, I would say, in relation to this particular element is the fact that there are also some resources that are provided as part of our program to try and strengthen these institutions, do some awareness creation activities that would allow the facilitation or indeed the progression of the implementation of the tourism programs. The second phase that we get into is the assessment, as I have referred to, and here we commonly refer to that as the diagnostic phase. And it provides, as I said, flexibilities for the priorities that you would include. So if tourism is a priority and is included as part of that assessment, that you definitely then can move forward with the implementation, either directly out of the EIF trust funds. But more importantly, I think, is the fact that you use this as a basis for engagement with a broader development partner group, whether it's bilaterally or otherwise. Third point is the prioritization of the action matrix. And here, again, it's within that same structure. Then finally, it's the implementation phase. And here, you would then have a situation where the projects that are selected are actually implemented in the priority order that you have selected. What is fundamental in all this is that you have, all these programs have a link to the broader strategies or to the broader institutions and indeed development strategies of the country. And what we try and do is work with the countries to ensure that that linkage is there. So progressively, we are working with the National Implementation Unit to integrate trade to be an integral part of the development strategies in a very, very practical sense, through the activities, through the budget resource allocations, and that through the other resource mobilization effort, that is done in a way that is coherent. Perhaps I could just, at this point, try to give some examples of countries where we are presently working with them with respect to... Yes, I'm at the end. Sierra Leone, Uganda, Liberia, Maldives, and Vanuatu are a case in point. Concluding, clear that services has been recognized as having a great potential to contribute to the trade agenda of many countries, in particular tourism. And I think we are at a point where, broadly speaking, this has already been enshrined as part of our program. What we need to do is to step up those efforts, translating that broadness into very specific actions. Working with the partners today is an evidence of that partnership, and I think you being here should take advantage of that and try to see how, in a practical sense, we can work with you to move forward. Thank you, Chair.